Gene Deal has never received a publishing check in his life in the music business. Gene Deal doesn't know what he's talking about. Let's get into some of this straight game.
Life is like cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy DELRAY, Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. I thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button notification. Also subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And like I always say, if you want to be one of the first people notified when I drop some of this straight game, please do me a favor. Ladies and gentlemen, Gene Deal doesn't know what he's talking about. I've heard a various amount of things over this past month or two. Gene Deal has been saying, and I come to let you know I respect Gene Deal, but I respectfully disagree with Gene Deal. He doesn't know what he's talking about, and Gene Deal on many occasions has contradicted himself in the stories that he's told, and I'm going to show you how. So we had a couple of years ago, Gene Deal was talking about Mace and Mace trying to buy back his publishing from Diddy, and how much money Mace wanted to spend or give Diddy a Puffy, as they call him, to buy his publishing back, and it was approximately $2 million. Mace had offered, Puffy to buy his publishing back at that particular time, prior to the news being broke that Puffy was giving the publishing back to artists under Bad Boy, who he had done publishing deals with when they first signed. And Mace was one of those people. Biggie was one of those people. Faith was one of those people who did publishing deals, evidently, right? Gene Deal now is coming out, and Gene Deal has never received a publishing check. He's not a musician. He's never recorded for any label that I know of from that perspective. And Gene Deal is now coming out and saying whatever needs to be said, or he's just basically saying anything. And a lot of times, I understand that it may be his opinion, right? But it just can't be your opinion when you're talking about something that is based on a fact. You have to come with factual information, right, to counter the facts that exist that are contrary to what that person is saying, or better yet, to what Gene Deal is saying, correct? So now, Gene Deal basically is now saying that the publishing that Puffy gave back to the Bad Boy artists is worth nothing, right? There can't be anything further from the truth. Number one, Gene Deal knows, because Gene Deal said and talked about Mace trying to buy his publishing back from Puffy for $2 million, right? So that right there shows that what Gene Deal is now saying is totally false, disingenuous, misleading, and an outright lie. Now, I don't know why he would, well, I do kind of understand. I mean, people, paying various people to come on their platforms and talk. You know what I mean? He's been on various, platforms and talked. But like I said, once again, you have to be able to offer some kind of truth, factual information to counter what is a factual truth that's already out there. And you can't pretend like you don't know just for the sake of talking at that present time. You lose credibility like that, right? And most people say, well, I agree, he's speaking some truth. And like, no. The only reason why people say that he's speaking truth is because of how passionate Gene is. And I respect that. But what Gene Deal can't do is come out and say things. And as I watch as a viewer, once you speak on it, right? And I'm taking in this information and knowing factually that it's not true. Once again, if you put out an album, right? Let's say let's deal with Biggie's album, his first album, right? Back in the day, Puffy did a lot of sampling, so they had to clear the samples first and all of these things, right? But as of recent, I've heard Mace and Puffy songs, Biggie songs in a beer commercial, Mace songs in a couple of movies. We'll deal with Biggie, and Biggie being gone, may he rest in peace, catalog. Not that it has to generate a lot of money, but he had a few hits, you know what I mean? So those songs can be licensed and definitely help move and help promote products and things of that nature. So when he says that the publishing is not worth anything, we know for a fact, right? Biggie's album is diamond, right? The Life After Death album is diamond. And I'm sure brings in at least over $1 million in royalties a year. We seen the movie that was made about Biggie's life. All of this stuff right here gets played continuously on streaming services, whether it's HBO, whether it's Netflix, whether it's, all of these other avenues in which royalties are generated. I'm not talking about Spotify. I'm not talking about any of these other platforms where they perhaps might pay you pennies on the dollar. I'm talking about from ASCAP royalties, right? Where you have a publishing side and a writer's side, right? So now, when you deal with that fact, that there in itself basically shows you that Gene Deal does not know what he's talking about involving this music industry stuff. I'm not talking about whether he may have seen a contract Biggie had showed him. I'm not talking about none of those things from that perspective. When Gene Deal comes out and makes the statement that the publishing is not worth anything, right? I don't know if he's mad at Puffy. I don't know, whatever's going on with that's their business. But you cannot come out and say that the publishing is not worth anything when that's simply not true. I just said Biggie song was licensed for a Budweiser commercial, so on and so forth. Okay, now you go with Biggie's first album. Same thing. The song continually plays on radio. The licensing, the publishing, the masters, all of that is money being generated, right? And so that money is generated for a lifetime plus when you're dealing with the publishing side of things. So there's money always coming in. Like I said, once again, when you license a song initially, there is an initial licensing fee, right? Let's go with Faith's first album. Her first album, did 1 million copies, right? Faith is still able to go on tour. Don't you know that when you go on tour and you perform at a venue, that is considered a performance? That is basically logged in by ASCAP, right? There is money to be generated from all of that. Like I said, once again, when you come out and you speak something, you got to know what you're talking about. You can't come out and say something and it not be true. And then now people can now debunk what you're saying. And like I said, you lose credibility when you do that. So with him saying all of the things that he said in reference to that, you deal with Craig Mack. Craig Mack's album, first album, did platinum, right? 112. All of the records that they had that were successes. Not only that, Mace's first album, I think, did double platinum, right? So you gotta understand This stuff is continually being played on the radio, not just in America, but around the world. So the short-sighted comment that Gene Deal made in regards to that is just that. It's short-sighted. So like I said, please do not listen to everything that anybody says, right? Do your own research. If Mace offered Puffy $2 million for his publishing back, then it's got to be worth something, at least $2 million. And the money that it's going to generate. You know, Mace said it in the song. He said, give me the catalog. I'll show you how daddy ball. Right? Because Mace understands what it's worth. Once again, those songs continually get licensed for television commercials, movies, and all of those things. All you need is, an administrator who's connected in the business, pitching your catalog to different films and things like that. And the money that it generates is substantially going to grow. I know this because I own publishing. I know this because I own publishing, and I've licensed songs to television, movies, and also TV, right? You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, once again, and I'm talking about around the world. So people think so locally when they're thinking about situations like this. And you don't really have to be a big artist to be able to do that. You just have to know the right people to be able to get your music licensed in the television, movies, and things, and TV commercials and things of that nature. Right? So, once again, like I said, Gene Deal, I respect you, brother, but you're putting out the wrong information in regards to something that he knows nothing about, but just yet he's commenting or giving his opinion on and sending the wrong message. Once again, you could look at any artist, Michael Jackson, and it doesn't matter how big the artist is. That's like saying, saying Big E's publishing, Faith's publishing, all of these are million-selling records. Is not worth anything today. It's crazy. Once again, these artists continually tour, continually license their stuff to television, movies, and TV commercials. Your boy DELRAY, straight gang.